Did I zig when I should have zagged? Was I just here? What's going on? This is the after the hike video of the Quehanna Trail. Now, I'm not on the Quehanna Trail right now. I'm at Providence State Park. It was just way too nice of a day for me to do this video in the house or in the backyard. So I haven't recorded anything since I got to the car on day 5 at Quehanna Trail. So it's been like a 5-week break for me from YouTube. So that was kind of nice. That's why I kind of did the 5 separate videos instead of trying to do 1 video or 2 videos. Figure I get those all edited and out, upload it and scheduled, and just kind of take a nice creative break. Just for myself, I've been out hiking and camping and stuff, but I haven't done any video. I've taken some photos. That's about it. So I'm gonna hike around here. Got a new phone. Got a Google Pixel 7, so I'm using that to record. See how that does. And as I can see on the screen, it's making these colors look a lot more colorful than it kind of is. We're past the peak right now. I was out here a couple weeks ago, and this is just stunning. But it's the end of October. Halloween's in a couple days, and it's still nice. It's really warm. It's gonna be a nice little day hike. Well, I got a couple hours before sun sets, so figured might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Get a hike, get some spider webs, 3 birds, and do this video. So I'm gonna do kind of like a reality versus expectation. Answer some of the questions that people ask, and the more common questions people ask about the Quehanna Trail, and then just like my final thoughts on it. So I'm gonna hike a little bit. I'm on the main trail right here. I've already passed the group. I look like a father, grandfather, and 2 kids, and they're out doing a scavenger hunt on the trail. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of cars down in the lot, so that may be something that's going on today. Maybe the park's running something. They do that sometimes. So I'm gonna go up onto the Hemlock loop, which is up behind me. I'm gonna make the big loop, come around. I don't know, 3 miles, 4 miles, something like that. Perfect distance. So what should you expect, or what do you think you would expect on the Quehanna Trail? It's kind of tricky because you'd think it'd be pretty simple. You go to the official website, to the State Forest website, and you see all your mileage, all your information, and all that. It's not really the case. And I don't know, other people's experience may vary. I don't rely on all trails, because a lot of times that information is subjective to whoever actually did the hike. They may have taken a different route, or thought they were on the Quehanna Trail and they weren't. You never know what you're going to find sometimes on all trails, so I don't really use that as a guide. I use the State Forest maps, and I'll try to find who maintains the trails and see if they got any maps or anything like that. So the State Forest, their official map, the latest one was released in August of 2020, and that says the trail is 71 miles. Now, my old map from 2011 said the trail was 73 miles. Now, I assumed they knew there was a fairly major reroute, because maybe it took a couple miles off. One of the DCNR websites, I think it's PA hikes or hike PA trails or something like that. Listed it at 75 miles. And the Keystone Trail Association, who is the organization who maintains the Quehanna Trail, or one of them, they don't even list mileage on it. Look how gorgeous it is back there. They don't even list the mileage. They just say it's a long distance hiking trail. So I think honestly the best thing that you can do is, and now I'm not affiliated with the Keystone Trail Association or the author of the book, but if you can find a copy of the guide to the Quehanna Trail by Ben Kramer, his hike, he wrote that based on a hike he did in 2015, so it's a little bit older, but a lot of the reroutes that I found out there that you think would be on new maps and aren't, are listed in that book. So they're older reroutes. They're really not that new. There's some smaller ones that are new, but and in that book he also talks about the proposed reroute at Mannix Run, Bear Run area that I talk about in the videos. So when I got home and I kind of tallied up my mileage, in actuality, my mileage and Ben Kramer's mileage were spot on, maybe off by a tenth or two at the end of the 70. Well, I had 74.11 miles and he had 74.26. So if you're looking for better expectations, I would say try to find that book. The guy, I'll put a picture of it up so you can see what it looks like. It was on the Keystone Trail Association store. That's where I got it from. And it's packed with information. Information about the forest, information about the surrounding lands, information about the trails. Almost too much information. Just some spots where he'll say, you know, he's at mile, it was 11.01. You crossed between two trees. 11.011. You pass another tree. Like, there's a lot of information, almost too much, but if you go through it in advance, it gives you a lot better of an idea of what to look for, water sources, ruggedness of the terrain, and all of that. So I'm at my turn. We go up the Hemlock Trail. So definitely look into that. Otherwise, use the official state forest map as a loose guide. I use Maprika, as I don't really track with it anymore, but I do load maps into it. It's an app that allows you to take any map. Like I took the two PDFs of the Quehanna Trail, turned them into one image, uploaded it to the app, and then it allows you to go in and kind of split screen. You have your map on one side, Google Maps on the bottom. You set anchor points in Google Maps at road intersections or somewhere that's easily identifiable. You go into your map and you set corresponding anchors on that map. And then I usually do anywhere from like 15, I think on that map I did 30. There's such a big map. 15 to 30 anchor points. And then it'll overlay a GPS grid. You don't actually see that, but that actually overlays GPS onto the actual map that you're using and shows you your position on that map in real time. And that's where I start to realize that there was reroutes that weren't on that map. But it also taught me I got to use that map as a loose guide. Shows you where to go. Those reroutes all wind up taking you to the same spot, but some of them can really throw you off. The one where you get to Three Runs Tower Road, the map shows you coming straight into an intersection on a road where one trail comes off and the Quehanna Trail goes straight. I think that's how it shows it. But you actually come in to a spur of Three Runs Tower Road that is also called Three Runs Tower Road, but you don't go straight across it. And what you think is a trail to the left is the actual road. So you gotta make a left, go like a quarter mile up until you run into where the trail's supposed to come in. And I could see there where people had gone straight across looking for a trail, and they're kind of, because there's not a lot of blaze in that section. But when I looked at the guidebook, it clearly stated you get to that spur road and then you make the left. That was in 2015. And that has been updated on the new map. So, yeah, there's some oddness as far as that goes. When I was videoing, I should say when I was editing, I edited out a lot of complaining about mapping on that trail. Because some of it was just like a small reroute, and then you wind up back where you're supposed to be shortly after. That I got, well, that was, okay. Really not worth mentioning that. But it kind of grinds on you after a while. But yeah, I edited a lot of that out. So the truth of the matter is there's a lot more of that trail that isn't on the map in small little segments. But all in all, it wanted to take me to the same spot. So after it all, you can kind of laugh about it. But as it's happening, it's not so much fun. Other than that, the expectation, a lot of people look at that trail and they think, oh, this is going to be easy. You're up on a plateau and there's no real mountains. You're not going to climb any mountains. You're not going to do anything too strenuous. There's something like 25,000 feet of elevation change along that 74-mile trail. That's a lot of elevation gain. That's something like 5 or 6 trips down and back into the Grand Canyon and back, down to the Colorado River and back. That's a lot of elevation change. Some of it's in little bits, but there's more to it than a lot of people think. There's more to it than I thought when I first went out to it 6 years ago. And there were people out there when I was out there who clearly immediately realized, oh, there's more to this than we thought. It's not difficult. There's nothing really technical about the trail. I think the sketchiest part was that in the Elk State Forest that across the Mosquito Creek, where you just kind of cross a tree that's got a guide wire on it. That was probably the sketchiest thing. You just got to keep your wits about you and pay attention and just keep trending. When you're up on the plateau, it's really easy. It's those drafts when you're going down and back up, because a lot of them are rocky. It was wet when I was out there. It's fall, so there's leaves down. It's kind of slick. And there's days where it rained. I really slowed my pace down. I was out there by myself. I didn't want to fall and get hurt. To prove some people right. I'm going to fall and get hurt when I'm out there by myself. But I know what I'm doing, so I know to slow down. So yeah, expect it to be fun and gorgeous, and because that is the reality of it. And it's a backpacking trail, so it's gonna have easy parts and hard parts. It's almost Halloween and there's still crickets out. That's really bizarre. The only other thing I could say that expectation might not match reality is that in that guidebook, the author talks about having read an article. I don't know if it was in a backpacking magazine or where he read it, where they were talking about the Quehanna Trail. And they said, when you get about halfway around, you can resupply at the town of Piper. It's only a quarter mile from the trail. You just walk down there. There's stores, there's restaurants, there's hotels, and it's great. That's not true. Piper, the town of Piper, Pennsylvania, is, I think, 2 warehouses, and I don't know if they're open, and maybe 1 house. There's no stores, there's no restaurants, there's nothing there. Do not assume or even pretend, joke about the fact that you can walk down to Piper and resupply. There are no resupply spots along the entirety of the 74 miles of the Quehanna Trail. When you're at Parker Dam State Park, if you park there at the main trailhead, you might be able to get down to the concession stand down by the lake at the swimming beach there. And I mean, it was after after a hike hunger, but that was a really good cheeseburger we had there. But they're only open in the summer, so may not be open if you're doing it in the spring or in the fall. Definitely not in the winter. Yes, please. So, on to the most frequently asked questions I got about that trip when I came back. By and far, the largest amount of people asked, did I see any wildlife? What did I see? Because there can be elk out there, and bear, and a lot of snakes and stuff like that. I saw some deer. I saw chipmunks, squirrels, various birds, and I saw evidence of elk. I saw scat and tracks. And I saw evidence of bear with scat. I heard coyotes. I heard owls. Heard a fox one night, but I didn't see a whole lot of wildlife. I knew it was out there. I just didn't really see it. So it's you take what you can get as far as wildlife sightings when you're out on the trail. Second most asked question probably was, how many days did I do it in, and what was my highest mileage day? So I did it in 5 days. I would have done it in 6 or 7 if the weather would have held out, and the weather didn't get any better. When I left, as I was leaving, I got on Interstate 80 and I was heading back east. I stopped in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, and ate at a Dutch pantry. But as I was coming down the highway, I looked in the rear view mirror, and like, see how the blue sky is behind me there? It was like that, like just kept on going, but it was just a storm cloud coming. And I thought, oh, I'm glad I'm not out there tonight. Yeah, I dodged that weather. So I would have done it slower just to be out. But I did it in 5 days. It was a pretty comfortable pace. My furthest day was 16.75 miles, like 16.77. I think that was day 3. I did one 12.5 mile day, 2 16+ mile days, like 16.2 and 16.7. I did another 12.5 mile day, and then the last day was almost 15.5. So pretty consistent. I just kind of I'm talking, I'm not paying attention to the trail. Oh, I'm still on it. Yeah. I just did what the trail gave me, depending on the weather and the views. I like to stop and talk and look and listen and enjoy. So it was pretty good. I didn't really push myself too hard. Those plateaus really made making up miles easy. Because when you got up on those plateaus, you could just cruise. We also asked, okay, so next, because of the 4 Patriots thing, a lot of people asked how my food prep went for that trip, and it went beautifully. I had my dehydrated chili for dinner, and I had couscous and turkey sausage in cheese sticks that I had for lunch. And then I had had various snacks. I had trail mix, I had Cliff Bars, I had energy chews, I had the drink mix, like the hydration mix. I had all that, and it worked out perfect. I kept my calories up, I stayed hydrated. At the end of the day, I was tired. Like, I knew around 4:30 I started getting hungry. It was time to eat. So, and it was getting dark at about 7. So I was trying to get to camp between 5 and 6:30 was my goal. It gives me time to get set up and relax a little bit and then eat. And I'd be tired by the time I got to camp, like, especially on the 16+ mile days. I was tired and I was ready to stop. But I knew that once I ate, if I had to, I could throw in the pack on and keep going. So my meal prep was awesome. Probably by far, hands down, the best prepared calorie-wise I've ever been on a trip. And it, as far as how I felt afterwards, I thought I'd be all beat up at the end of that trip. Like the next day, I woke up the next morning, I was a little stiff, my ankles, just because of all the climbing and actually sleeping in a bed. But I got up and I stretched. And I was fine. I could have got back on the trail and kept going. So I think that food prep, keep my calories up, staying hydrated, stopping when I need to stop, taking my shoes off anytime I stopped. I think all that was great. That meal prep though was key. So definitely very important. Tied to that, the next question would be, how did the bear canister work? I love that thing. That's a short answer. Love that thing. That thing turned out to be probably the best addition. Well, one of the best additions I've made in a while. First of all, I didn't have to worry about hanging a bear bag. I didn't have to worry about it raining, which is always my big concern with the bear bag. I'll hang it up, it'll rain, or it'll get really humid. My bear bag gets soaked. I got a wet bear bag, I can put it back into my bag and gets everything else wet. The bear canister didn't matter. Got wet, I had my pack towel with me. I just dried it off, threw it back in the pack. It was fine. I could use it as a chair. I could just put it by the hammock and rest my feet on it and kind of lean back, use it as a footstool. When I first loaded it in the pack, I noticed I could feel it a little bit. I didn't have it set in there just right. And I kind of feel it through the backpack. So I hiked for maybe, I don't know, maybe a mile. And I could feel it. I took it off, I readjusted it, I put it back on, and it was fine. It was great ever since. So yeah, I just put it outside of camp, wedged it in a tree, or that one campsite where I was right out on the field. I just went over to the old fire ring. I put it there, I took a rock from the fire ring, I put it on top of it. Had no problem. So yeah, I think that's going to be my new go-to. And in the winter, my winter pack is big enough that I won't even know what's in there, so that'll be great. Yeah, so the bear canister, two thumbs up. One, two thumbs up. Another thing people ask me, where can you get the maps? You can get the maps from, they'll give you one at the Parker Dam State Park office. Parker Dam doesn't maintain the trail, but that's where the main trailhead is in that park. And you park there, you go into their office, you register. It doesn't cost anything. They just want to get your, who you are, your vehicle information, a phone number for you, emergency contact, and what your general plan is, which way you're going, how many days you think you're going to be out there. That way, they'll go by, the trailhead parking is between the park office and the campground. So rangers go by there often. You can keep an eye on your vehicle. And if you say you're going to be there for 5 days and your car's there for 7, well, they're going to start making some phone calls. So it's kind of a safety thing too. And then when you leave, they know your car's gone. They closed just before I got back. As I was walking up to the office to go check out, Ranger was walking out. He was off duty. He didn't even look at me. He's like, I'm going home. And I don't blame him. So I was like, oh, well, they'll know my car's gone. And they'll know I'm gone. They said you don't need to go in and check out. But if you can, then absolutely do. But yeah, you can get a map there. You can download the map from the Quehanna State Forest website. So if you just go online, you search for Quehanna State Forest, you'll go there. There'll be a link for hiking trails. When you go in there, you'll see all their trails. The Quehanna Trail system is in there, or what they call it, the Quehanna Hiking Trail. That's in there. It's 2 PDFs. They got it like the east side and the west side. You can merge them together. And I might put that information on my website. So if I do, I'll put a link down at the bottom here. And you can go there and we'll have a link to their official map where they probably update it more. And I'll put a link to the map that I used. And if you've got Maprika, you can go into Maprika, go to the Quehanna Trail, search it, and I uploaded my digital map into Maprika. And you know it's my map because it'll say KZO on YouTube or something in the comments. That way you know. Excuse me, this is the one I used. Now that I've done the trail, would I do anything different? Is another question I could ask. Nope. Maybe go, if anything, I might go a month earlier. Did I zig when I should have zagged? I think just here. Have I been talking and got myself completely turned around? That takes me that way. Hamlet Trail's that way. East Shore Trail's that way. I gotta pull up the map. I've been talking, and I think that's Bone Ridge Trail. What did I do? Back with you. Okay, so on this this is where the trail used to go. The Hemlock Trail used to go that way, but they diverted it for some reason. Now it goes up here to the Hamlet Trail and splits off and comes around. Somehow, I was not paying attention. I veered back onto the old section of trail. So I didn't want to do that. It's too early to stop. So let's turn back and go back this way. So where was I? Would I do anything differently now that I've done the trail? The only thing I might do differently is go maybe a month earlier just to get a little more daylight. I had about 12 hours of daylight, almost exactly. The sun was coming up right at about 7 a.m. and setting right at about 7 p.m. A month earlier, I get a little more daylight. I could have, I don't necessarily need to get on the trail at 5:30 or 6. 7 a.m. is fine for me. But that extra couple hours extra hour at the end of the day, say, a month earlier, would give me a little more leeway in, doing things I want to do, like stop and look at stuff. I could carry a little bit lighter gear because when I took a little bit extra stuff because I knew there'd be some cold days and some wet days. If it was a little warmer, I could have packed a little lighter. And just a little bit, you don't feel quite as rushed at the end of the day. When it's 4 o'clock and it starts ticking in your brain, and you go, oh, I'm running that daylight, I gotta get to camp. That's like winter hiking right there. That might be the only thing I'd do differently. As far as the gear I took, everything that I took that I wanted to use, aside from the hammock chair, I used. And that weighs a couple ounces, so it wasn't a big deal. I just didn't have any, I didn't get to camp early enough. I figured if I was out there for 5 or 6 days or 7 days, I might only be doing 10 miles a day. And I'd be getting to camp earlier. And I could just kind of chill out and relax. But I didn't do that. So that's fine. The other stuff that I didn't use is stuff that you don't want to use. You don't want to have to use like your first aid kit. That kind of stuff, emergency stuff. So everything worked out really well as far as what I chose to take, how it worked. That's cool. So yeah, I made a couple of those last minute additions, like that Sea to Summit cup. That thing is awesome. I made that front pouch. That really helped me snack. That worked great. That's a new full-time gear for me. The bear canister works great. So my overall plan for what I wanted to do was perfect. So yeah, I think my I think I planned that well. I mean, I've been thinking about that trip for 6 years, so it should have been one of my better planned trips. So, and it was. And then it's also kind of the other question I got was, you know, gear-wise, stuff that you made additions to and things like that. How did that work out? And it worked out great. I think this is where I got turned around. Where's that trail split? Here. Yeah. I think we'll go this way. Up the hill. Yeah, so it's like a little mini loop, the Hemlock loop. I came this way. You see there's blaze right there. Maybe you can see that. Got blaze here. There's no blaze down there. There's way down there. There's one, but the trail actually goes that way. I was just out here a couple weeks ago. How did I forget that? That pretty much does it for the questions. I mean, a lot of people ask questions, a lot of same questions somewhere. Like, did you see a chupacabra? Nope. Would have been cool. I think that guy was just surprised I knew what he was talking about. Wow. So there's still a little color. My overall impressions of the Quehanna Trail. It's one of those things where you get something in your head that you want to go do, and you can't get the opportunity, you can't get the opportunity, you can't get the opportunity. So in your head, you start to make it out to be mythical, right? That's how it was with Maine. I wanted to go to Maine since I was a little kid. I was not disappointed. Maine was awesome. So, but you never know. Sometimes there's something you really want to go do, something you really want to experience, and you get there and you're like, that was it? Quehanna Trail did not disappoint. Probably not a lot of views. There's some vistas. But you're looking down to the drash, you're not like looking, you know, on top of the mountain looking out over these vast landscapes or anything. But it's one of those trails, and you get them a lot, that are every corner you turn, you've got a different ecosystem. You know, you're up on the plateau, and you're in these fields and wild meadows, and there's blueberry and, you know, pine and hardwoods, and then you're just in this big open field, and then you go down into the drafts and it's this rocky hemlock forest, and there's giant boulder features, you know, rock features and waterfalls, and it's just undescribable. You don't have a lot of vistas. I've said this so many times in videos. You don't need a vista to have a view. This isn't a vista where I'm standing right now, and I'm blocking the view, but like down there, it's just, this is the view. This is, to me, this is a vista, and that's how the Quehanna Trail is. There's not a lot of views, but there is no shortage of things to see. Gorgeous trail, gorgeous forest, really interesting history, so remote. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I would go out and do that trail again. There's some trails you go and you do it and you're like, all right, I've done that, don't need to do that again. I would absolutely go out and do that again. I joked with Dragon because there's been several times we've gone out. I've gone out and done a trail, or him and I have gone out and done a trail, and then we turn around like 2 months later and we go do it again, like in the opposite direction or something like that, for whatever reason, time constraints, or somebody else wants to go. And I messaged him. I got done. I'm like, "This is a great trail," and he's like, "Oh, would you do it again?" And again, not tomorrow, but I'd do it again. But yeah, that's just great. And there's so many other trails out there that you can connect in. You can do it the opposite direction. You can, there's rail trails, there's cross connectors. There's another trail system. You can take, what is that? The Cinnamahoney Trail, which is like I think it's only like 18 miles or something. It takes you down to Cinnamahoney State Park. And I think somewhere in that general area, you can connect over to, I think, the Black Forest or the Chuck Kuiper, or both, or the Donut Hole. One of those. They all connect. So there's just so many options of stuff you can do, and it's incredible. So yeah, I would absolutely do it again. Word of advice to anybody going: call first. Call like the state park or the state forest and ask them what the water flow is like. Not because you'd have a shortage of water, but especially Mosquito Creek, because if that water is too high and there's not some kind of crossing up with that down tree or something, it's impassable. From what I've read, when that water's really cranking through there, it is impassable. It's like a 6 or 7 mile reroute. Like the way I went, I would have to turn around, go all the way back up past where I had lunch onto that road, and take that road all the way down, out another forest road, all the way up to the next road, like 6 or 7 miles, or go deeper into the Quehanna Wild area and start taking, connecting multi-use trails back on that road. Either way, it's a big reroute. Big reroute. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that, because if you can't cross that, there's no easy way around it. Yeah, definitely check that. The Medics Run area has been taken care of. There's a bridge structure, the fiberglass bridge structure is down there on Mosquito Creek, but either they can't find a suitable place to put it or something. I don't know. Maybe they ran out of funding for it, or they can't get machinery down to remove it. I think that might have been part of the old bridge that they were able to rescue, but it looks like they can still use it. Something. They'd have to do something there to make that. That's like the only spot where it's really sketchy. Everything else, all the other water crossings are either easy enough just to step across, or there's a bridge. So many bridges. So many bridges. So, yeah, my overall impression, final impressions of Hamlet Trail. Yeah, there's some trail maintenance issues on it right now. And so the mapping, yeah, I didn't get lost. I found my way through. It wasn't that bad. It was gorgeous. Everything I had hoped for. Would have liked to have seen an elk or heard an elk. That would have been cool. I've seen them out there before, so it wasn't a deal breaker. I'll say that. It was nice. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, those of you that watched the entire series, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it, because that was fun. That was something I've wanted to do for a while. And I wasn't sure how I was going to record it. For a little while, I wasn't sure if I was going to record it at all. I thought I might just go disappear into the woods and not record it, just take some pictures. But I'm glad I did. I recorded way more than I thought. Not as much as I could have, but way more than I thought. So thank you all for watching, and for checking this one out. Me doing a hike about a trail on a different trail. That's different, but like I said, it's too nice. Next week is the end of daylight savings, so it'll get dark a little earlier. The sun's getting low. It is 3:30. The sun's already that low. Coming up though, I do have 3 trips planned. Gorgeous. That's going to do it for this one. I know there's a lot of me jabbering on camera, but like I said, we're going to do this at home. And I thought, it's too nice. Maybe I'll do that outside in the backyard. After the fence is all done, the yard's done. It's like, oh, yeah, we'll do that. I looked outside and I'm like, oh, it's just too nice. I got to go get outside and do a hike. So here I am. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any other questions about the Quehanna Trail, or any of the trails I've done, the rocks, leave me a comment. I'm always more than happy to answer a question. And if I don't have an answer, I will tell you I don't know. All right. Nice colors. Those are nice colors back there. You see, look at on the screen. Guess I'll see what it looks like when I get it back on the computer. All right, I'm gonna finish this one out and drink some water. I've got it with me. I just haven't been drinking it. I need water. See you next.